This is Old School Tactical. We're looking at Stalingrad expansion for Volume 1 East Front. I've just completed playing Death of the Sixth Army. The net result of this on victory points was the Germans won. The Russians got 49 victory points and the Germans got 61 victory points. The reason I think the Germans won this is I wasn't using these tanks effectively. I really wasn't. I think they could have made the difference if I'd used them a lot more. I tended to think that after the initial infantry assaults were so successful down here that another infantry assault over here would also be equally successful, but it didn't. It didn't work out that way, mainly because of poor dice rolling. I think this is something that is inherent to playing solo in a lot of these games, particularly where there's a big scenario and there's a lot of turns, so things can basically equal itself out. I tend to think that poor dice rolling can be quite decisive when you're playing yourself. I don't know. That's just a theory of mine. But there was a definite sort of disadvantage there on the Russian side because of that poor dice rolling. My review for this game stays the same at 7 out of 10. I found this scenario to be very samey because you're constantly fighting in these buildings with +2 modifiers to the defence, and because line of sight was really heavily restricted, it was very difficult to get any opportunity fire in. Because of the way opportunity fire works in this game, you can't actually fire at the final hex that the unit is entering into, things like that. And the real killer in terms of getting a higher score for this game is, I think, is this firepower table. If you see on the 0 firepower, it's a bit of a glare there, but if you see on the 0 firepower table how many kills, you get 2 kills, 2 casualty reduction results. And when you're firing with regular units with like a machine gun, it gives you an extra 2 firepower. There was a lot of fighting going on that 0 column, and it's very bloody. If you tried that in ASL, that means you could, because you can take 2 shots, if you're in the right position, 2 shots in a turn if you want to, it was quite effective to take pot shots at units in hexes, where if you had a unit with a machine gun just across from them. If you tried that in ASL, you'd get absolutely nowhere. So in my opinion, it's a good game, but it's a bit sort of gamey, and there's a lot of randomness in it as well, because everything depends on how many impulses you generate from your impulse dice. That in itself is a huge element of randomness. In several points in the game, the Russians ended up with virtually no impulse points, but even though they had 6 die, they were rolling really badly on those die. And combined with the fact that casualties for every 5 casualties takes you down 1 impulse, they really ran out of steam near the end. So a great game if you're prepared to accept that it can be very gamey because of the way the firepower table works. So I'm going to move on to Lock and Load Tactical now and see how that works out. For the moment, I would say this comes out better than ASL, but only because ASL is I found it was too complex for me. Um, Now, ASL Starter Kit, I think I'm going to have to give ASL Starter Kit a look in here, because one of the big advantages of this game is the small rules footprint. And I think if you look at ASL Starter Kit, it's probably running in the same footprint as Old School Tactical. Anyway, that's my thoughts and musings on the game. Let's try Lock and Load Tactical.